Jae Crowder seems to never catch a break when it comes to staying long-term on a team. Now, this isn't by choice. Jae seems to always be on the trade block, and if you need a recap, here's a quick summary of all the times Jae has been traded. He was drafted in 2012, 34th overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers, but on day one, he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. 2 years later, he was traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Boston Celtics in 2014. Then after a few years in Boston, he was traded back to his original draft team, the Cavs, spent 1 year there, and was traded yet again to the Utah Jazz in 2018. 1 year after that, he was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies in 2019, and then 1 year later after that, this year in 2020, he was traded to the Miami Heat. This means for the past 4 years, Jae Crowder has been traded, and in his whole career, he was traded 6 times. He's only been playing for about 8 years, depending if you want to count this year or not. So why has Jae been traded so many times? I could leave you with a mundane answer and say it just hasn't worked out well for each team, but if you take a closer look, I don't think that's the one-size-fit-all case. Because if that were the case, teams wouldn't want him on the receiving end. You see, in reality, Jae has a pretty good demand for receiving NBA teams. He's a 3-and-D guy who can guard positions 1 through 4 and can create good floor spacing as he can knock down 3-pointers. In the modern NBA, these are 2 important skills for the small forward position. In his best season, he averaged over 14 points per game, and overall, he's been averaging about 10 points per game at 42% shooting. So in my opinion, why is Jae traded nearly every year? Well, to answer this question, you gotta understand what makes a player untradeable. A player is untradeable if A, they are MVP caliber or GOAT caliber and they're happy in the city they're in, B, a player has too huge of a contract that no other team would want to pay for, or C, the player is so bad that no team wants to give up assets to retrieve them. Jae, while he is skilled, does not fall into category A. He doesn't fall into category B either, as he has an annual average salary of $7 million, which by NBA standards is not that crazy, and he doesn't fall under category C either because he definitely has talent. So this might explain why he does get traded, but it doesn't explain why nearly every year he's tossed around like a hot potato. The best way to understand the second aspect is to understand what every team that traded him had in common with each other. None of the teams were lottery teams at the time, all of them were in respectable playoff positions, and none of them were ready to give up or start tanking. And after their 1-year trial when said teams gave up on Jae Crowder, they didn't win the title, but were still in playoff connection, and when you're in playoff connection and want to stay that way but also make a trade, you won't trade your best players, and you can't trade your worst players as much as you'd like to. Jae Crowder falls into that rare Goldilocks zone. He's good enough to want, but not good enough to keep. And this is a no offense to Jae. He's clearly talented, and I hope things work out great for him in Miami. So why do you think Jae Crowder is always traded? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe with notifications turned on. I'm Rebound Rewind, and I'll fast forward to you later.